What's up, homies? We're back with another video about everything that has to do with money. So, if you like personal finance, we talk about that on this channel. If you like money in general, we talk about that on this channel. If you like entrepreneurship, we talk about that on this channel. We talk about everything that has to do with money. So if you're a person who likes money, maybe consider subscribing and liking this video. One random evening, I was brainstorming ideas for YouTube videos, for content, and I was scrolling through YouTube. Oh my god, I can't speak anymore. I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw a bunch of videos on how much it costs to live in Los Angeles, how much it costs to live in New York, and all these fancy places. But there's little to no videos about how much it costs to live in Montreal, Canada. And go figure, I live in Montreal, Canada. I thought it'd be awesome to tell you guys about how much it costs to live in Montreal, Canada as a frugal person. Oh, and when I say frugal, I mean cheap as fuck. I see life as a 24-year-old trying to make the best life possible for my future is I should be cutting expenses. I should not be living in a fancy apartment on the 44th floor. Even though I can, I should not. I should be getting something nice, but also cheap, because these are the years where I consider are my grind years. So you have your grind years where you work really hard, get all your money, and then in the end, you get to enjoy it. So that's what I mean by frugal, cheap. So to make this video as easy as possible for you guys to understand and for me to make, I have cut up my monthly expenses in categories so you guys can see what I spend my money on. And, I hate saying spending my money. It's the cheap frugalness in me. So what I go ahead and spend my money on every month to live in an apartment at 24 years old in Montreal, Canada. Again, I really hope you like this video. I beg of you guys, you know what, I'm gonna beg. Okay. I beg of you guys to subscribe and like this video because, you know, it takes me some time to make these videos. It takes me some brain power to make these videos, and I would really appreciate it. Wow. Is this who I am now? So the way I categorized my costs every month is the first category is essential costs and the second category is non-essential costs. And each category has subcategories that we're gonna go into right now. Essential costs for me and for everybody else is you really can't get away from them. You need to pay these expenses. It's a must. There might be a way to maybe cut them, but there's no way of actually getting away from paying these expenses. So I hope I made myself clear. Let's get into it. Essential costs include rent cost, utilities cost, insurance cost, gas cost, groceries cost, so much money. Those are the costs that are included in my essential costs category. Now let's get into it. First essential cost is rent cost. And that's a cost you can't really escape from. It's an essential cost. You need to pay for where you're living at. But like I said before, there's a way for you to go ahead and cut that cost maybe in half. And just like, I know I was able to go ahead and get an apartment by myself, but why would I do that when I can get a roommate? And I know some people don't like having roommates, but personally I love it. I love having a roommate for two reasons. One, because you're never alone. If you want to chill with somebody, you got somebody to chill with. And two, your rent gets automatically cut in half. So if you're paying $1,000, now you're paying $500. Not my case, just an example. Our apartment is a 2-bedroom basement apartment with a pretty big kitchen, and it's about 25 minutes without traffic to downtown Montreal. Why we opted to live outside of Montreal was obviously because the rent is cheaper. What we pay for this apartment is $775 a month. However, I did tell you that I decided to cut it by having a roommate. So $775 divided by 2 is $387.50. Yes, I'm good at math. Right? I told you I was frugal. I mean cheap. Second subcategory is my utilities cost for the apartment. Utilities are heating, hot water, and electricity. And heating and hot water is already included in the apartment, which is amazing. Cheap, right? So cheap, I love it. What we pay for is electricity. And electricity for us every month is about $40 a month. But again, because I have a roommate and he uses the electricity too, gets cut in half. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. Yes, I'm good at math. $20 for utilities every single month. Little side note, I'm gonna show you guys how cheap it is for me to live in this apartment. Basically, most of the expenses I am going to tell you in this video are tax write-offs. Most of you guys know I own a company where I use this apartment as my office and some of it as my storage. And what I can do is I can use those spaces that I'm actually using as my office and my storage areas as a tax write-off. So just to give you super easy numbers, okay? Let's say I make 50K. Again, just random numbers. Let's say I make 50K a year. This apartment costs me 10K a year, but I pay 5,000 every single year because I have a roommate, right? That $5,000 I get to write off on my income. So 50 minus 5 is $45,000. So now I'm taxed on $45,000 without all the other expenses for my business. It's fucking cheap. Back to the expenses. I hate expenses, man. I hate it. I hate spending my money. I also have a phone bill and a Wi-Fi bill to pay. Okay, before I tell you guys what my phone bill is, yes, phone bills in Canada are more expensive. I don't know why. I don't really care why. I just pay it, okay? For a 10 gigabyte plan with a new iPhone 11 Pro, I pay about $65 a month, which is also a tax write-off because I have a business account for my phone. But I pay $65, that's not cut in half because I use my phone myself. He doesn't use his phone. So $65 is how much I pay a month, but it's also a tax write-off. My Wi-Fi bill, however, is cut in half, which is about $80 a month, which comes to $40 a month for me. And again, that is a tax write-off. So it's a win-win for me. So I don't know if it's different anywhere else, but in Montreal, Canada, we need tenant insurance. So that's the other category in my essential costs. Tenant insurance is $250 a year. However, I cut that in half because I have a roommate. A roommate pays for the other half, and I pay for the other half. So $125 is how much I pay a year for tenant insurance, which in my opinion is very, very cheap. And again, is a tax write-off. Say it with me, tax write-off. So the two last expenses in my essential costs are one, gas. Gas costs me about $40 a week. And I know that's pretty expensive. It's probably my most expensive non-essential cost that I can't really get rid of because I love it. I have a Jeep Commander, which I love so much. But tax write-offs. My Jeep is used a lot for my work and my business, so I get write it off completely off my taxes every single year. And so that's awesome. The next category is groceries. Man, we gotta eat. I gotta eat in this world, guys. So I pay about $35 a week, which I find pretty cheap. You guys let me know in the comment below if it's not cheap. I guess it's pretty cheap. That's my guess. $140 a month on groceries. So let's tally up all the numbers I just gave you guys to get a hard number for my essential costs every month, which comes up to a total number of, drumroll please, which I think is so cheap, and almost all of it is tax write-offs. Yeah. I did well. Now that we got through the really boring expenses, let's get into the fun expenses, the non-essential costs. So what non-essential costs mean to me is costs that I can live without, but I see myself still spending on because They give me short-term happiness or short-term gratification. And I do believe as a human being, you gotta entertain yourself, and you gotta do things you like, and doing those things, you gotta spend some money. So I'm completely fine with the expenses that I have that are non-essential, but you know, they're not stuff that I really need. So let's get into it. So my non-essential costs are cut up in 3 subcategories. The first one is takeout food, which we all have. We all are guilty of ordering pizza at 11 o'clock at night when we're getting the munchies. 2, clothing. It's not really a big one for me. I'm not really a clothing guy because I just think it's just a waste of money. But we got that on the list. And 3, entertainment. Let's see what kind of entertainment I like. So, takeout food. It's my biggest spend. I probably spend about $60 a week on takeout food or eating at a restaurant. And that sums up to $240 a month in just food. But wait, the reason why I justify this expense, and I don't mind paying it, is because I love food. And more than that, I feel like I get to experience another country or continent when I'm eating this food. If I go eat $30 Greek food, I personally feel like I'm getting transported to Greece and eating that food. It's an experience. So that's my justification for spending $240 a month on food. But now that summer is over, winter is coming in, and winter usually gets really cold in Montreal, that amount will probably go down. Clothing. I'm not a big clothing fan, so that means I'm not always shopping. But when I do, I only go thrift shopping. Why not? Why are people going thrift shopping as much as I am? I love thrift shopping because 1, it's an experience. 2, you can find really cool clothes for really cheap. And 3, when you find a piece of clothing that you love, it's a better self-gratification feeling. And so yeah, so thrifting is my thing. Because of COVID, I didn't really buy much clothes, so I went thrifting like once or twice, and I had spent $10 for each shirt. I bought 2 shirts and 2 sweaters at $15 a sweater, which comes to a total of $50 that I've spent this summer, which if we average it out for 3 months is $17 a month on clothes, which is pretty freaking cheap. It's not really one of my biggest expenses. I'm not really a big clothing guy. I have a few staples, gray, black, and I'm good. So, entertainment. I am the biggest believer in hard work, but I also believe in relaxing and taking time for yourself. So my biggest entertainment expenses is 1, Netflix, which is $8. It's pretty free, it's cheap. And the second expense is the spa. If you've ever been to a spa, you know what I mean. It is the most relaxing experience you can pay for these days. You go to a spa, you get a massage, and you get to sit in the Scandinavian pools where one is cold, one is hot. It's so good for your body, so good for your health. I feel like I can work way better when I go to a spa. So I'll give that $100 monthly budget for the spa. And yeah, that's pretty much it for entertainment. Let's tally up all the numbers and see how much it costs me every month for my non-essential costs. So let's add up all of our non-essential costs. So for me, $240 a month for takeout food, which is gonna go down during the winter, $17 a month for clothes, which is pretty freaking cheap, $8 for Netflix a month, $100 for the spa, and $100 is very far-fetched. I don't go every month. I try to, but not every month. And the total cost for my non-essential expenses, drum roll please, $365 a month. Now, if we total up all of my expenses per month, it would be, now in my opinion, that's pretty freaking cheap because I know a lot of people who have rent to pay and that's $1,000. How I did it is, 1, thank God I live in Montreal and rent is cheap. 2, I got myself a roommate to pay half of the rent, which saves me a lot of money. 3, I get to write off a lot of my taxes. And 4, Montreal is constructed in a way where everything is so accessible. So instead of living in downtown Montreal where I know rent is gonna be stupid high, I decided to live a little bit further from Montreal, about 25 minutes without traffic, to save myself hundreds of dollars a month on rent. And I really think that if you're looking to move out, it is possible if you do it in the right way where you are being cost efficient. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it. If you guys can go ahead and like this video, I beg of you. And subscribe to this video, I beg of you. We talk about everything that has to do with money on this channel. And it does take me a long time to make these videos. I would really appreciate the subscribe and the like. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.